so going through the content training today, we're just going to be learning how to change your images in your slideshow images, build out that menu if I didn't mention that, change our quick links, our sponsors, add those events to your upcoming events widget and any of this text on the home page. We're going to learn how to do all of that today. So this is, to me, a really fun training. I love this part. Any questions before we get started?
No.
All right, cool. Let's jump in. So we're going to be working mainly under our website tab today. And the first thing I want to talk about is our media manager. Now, this is like an in-house file store where you'll be able to save images, documents, whether that's Excel sheets, Word documents, whatever the case may be. And in order to link any of your documents to any of the articles that you're creating, or to add images to the articles you're creating within the website, you'll need to first save them in the media manager. So you'll never be able to just copy and paste an image into an article. Always need to access that media manager when you're inside of an article, building out that content and how to bring in those images, create those documents. But just wanted to first go ahead and point out you have a documents folder, an images folder that you can save things, create additional folders as well. So you can create, like we have a logos folder just for you guys. You could create a sponsor logo folder or whatever kind of images that you want to group together for additional organization just by creating new folders up at the top here.
Do you have a bulk upload by any chance?
When you upload items, you can select more than one item at a time to bring in. You can save the slideshow images for your slideshow on the front page in this area. You don't have to, but it's nice, I think, for just consistency. And you'll notice that these images need to be that 9:5 size. So if you ever forget what the slideshow images need to be on your home page, you can always come to this folder for reference. So that's 980 by 245. And then we have our sponsor logos folder. So you can save your sponsor logos in here. Same thing, these need to be 220 by 220, so you can use this as a resource as well. You can use any of the folders except for this site folder. I would ask that you guys leave this alone. This is what's the logo onto the website. It's just going to be what our designers use if they ever need to make changes for you guys. And if for some reason this got deleted or if they got moved or if the folder got deleted, then the logo would disappear from your website. So we really just want to leave this site folder as it is. Any questions about this media manager?
It reminds me of like Constant Contact or something.
Oh yeah, I think most systems have something very similar like this in-house file store in order for you to access any of those images or documents. So it's pretty, from what I understand, it's pretty consistent across the board.
So this is just replacing an FTP for us, basically.
Got it.
Is that
yeah.
correct?
So you could, you share things through here as well. Of course, like if you guys wanted to, John, you wanted to drop something in here, then anybody could access it in the website. So yeah, in a way it could. And it holds pretty big file sizes. So as long as it's not going over the max at the bottom down here, and that's per file, then you're good to go. And that's pretty hard to go over.
Yeah, go over that.
Yeah, it's pretty large. Okay. Awesome. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into creating an article together and then linking that article to the main menu. Now, creating an article is pretty easy. The whole process of creating an article to the main menu is pretty easy. There are a lot of steps. So you're definitely going to have to go back and watch this recording. And once you do it a couple times, it'll become really easy. The main tip that I suggest is you have to create the article before you can link it to anywhere. So you can't link something up if it doesn't exist, right? So we always have to go in order of creating articles. And this is where you'll find any of the articles that we have created for you guys already. So these are 10. If you wanted to make any edits to these pages of content, you could just select one. And then you can just make any edits in this just as if you would be working in almost like a Word document. We are going to go over some the special at the top, some of these special action items in just a moment. But I just wanted to show you, all you have to do is select the article you want to make updates to. It's going to open it on our editor, and you can do those edits right inside of here. And when you're done, you're just going to select Save in the top right-hand corner. Go ahead and use these icons in the top right-hand corner. The plus sign will be to create a new article, which we're going to do here together. You can also tag any of these items, and you can always view your trash and restore it. Another common item that you guys will probably be using is published and unpublished. So you can once again tag the article you might want to unpublish or publish. That's great to use if you're working on it and you don't want your changes to reflect yet because you're just not sure if you like the way it looks, or if you were working on an article and you need to come back next week to finish it because you didn't have time that day to finish it. You can just leave it unpublished, and then when it's done, all you're ready to go. We're going to go ahead and begin by creating a new article just by selecting our plus sign. We're going to name our article, so I'm just going to call this members only just for our example today. I always like to copy my title and paste it into the editor itself. Now the alias populated, the alias, this is going to be what creates the URL for this specific page. So if I went directly to nafi.memberclicks.net/members-only, that would take me directly to this page that we're creating right now. So it's just whatever comes after this /, whatever the alias is, you just plug that in, and that's going to be a direct link. Some of the other items that we have, did you have a question?
I didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard you say something.
No worries.
Things that we have, a lot of these are going to look really similar to what we already have in the system, or to what you probably used before. Like I said, just in a Word document, it's really simple. Bolding, italicizing, underlining, strike throughs, different alignment features. Some of the things that are different to member clicks or unique is this drop down for format. So format are going to be just some formatted headings that we created for you guys. There are 2 reasons I would suggest using consistent throughout the site. 2, if you guys ever go through a rebranding process or just want to update your site, you can send us the new colors that you want to use, and we'll apply that to your site, and anywhere you've used those formatted fonts, they're going to automatically update. So that will prevent you guys from having to go into every single article and changing the text, changing the font, changing the colors to update your website. It can really just happen with a snap of a finger. It's really easy for us. So that's always a bonus. So that means that I would stay away from changing the font family, changing the font size, changing the font color, or highlighting, right? Because that would prevent us from being able to make those updates for you guys. At that point, if you used any of those features, you would have to come back in the site and update all of that, which it would just be a pain. So I would definitely stay away from those customizations to the text and really just use our formatted fonts here. Something else to member clicks is how we add in an image. So I mentioned that we can't copy and paste. We'll always have to access our mini media manager, what I would call our mini media manager, to pull those photos in. So to do that, we're just going to place our cursor wherever we want the image to populate. I'm actually going to drop to the bottom of our editor and switch button right down here. Once I select this, it's going to bring up that mini media manager. And now access any of those folders that we looked at just a moment ago. I'm just going to access the site folder and pull in, select, insert this image. Now there may be some things I don't love about the image. Maybe I don't love the size, the relationship of the that I've created, so we can make changes to that. All we want to do is just click or select our image, which will highlight the image. Now it's a small, this is my favorite icon. We're going to select that. It's just so cute. And my appearance tab. which is going to affect the appearance of the image. Now, if you forget any of what I'm talking about right now in this pop-up, it's going to show you exactly what you're doing, exactly how you're affecting the article. So I'm going to start by aligning all the text lines with the image. I want our text to push our image left. That's just a favorite, probably most commonly used alignment option. Dimensions are going to be the dimension of the image. As long as you keep the constraint proportions box checked, it'll always fill in that second dimension for you, just depending on what the proportions of the image need to be. Vertical space allows you to enter in a pixel space for just a space cushion between the image and the text. So you'll see that we've created some space now. Same thing for horizontal space. And then it's going to be a black simple border. We're not able to change the color of that border. It's just something simple, and I can go ahead and select update. I'm going to say yes, that's okay. So now you'll notice that our image is smaller. We have that space cushion between our image and the text image left, and it starts at the top of the image, and then we have that that border around our image. Any questions on how I change the appearance of our image?
I don't have any questions on that, but I do have a couple questions for you.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, so with our current editor, we can't copy and paste directly from Word because it brings when you copy from Word, it brings that like style over and messes everything up. You like Notepad and then take it from Notepad because it gets rid of all that junk. Do you guys have the same problem, or have you found a way to kind of get rid of all that extra style stuff?
It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing, and you're going to find in every editor. Like the HTML, sometimes there's stuff behind what you're seeing that creates HTML, right? And so Notepad is just getting rid of that. So I would recommend the exact same thing, copying it in a Notepad, removing the formatting, and then pasting it in. I have plenty of associations who do not do that. I have plenty of associations who just copy and paste. I mean, it's true. I mean, I would copy and paste, honestly. All that happens for us is it can create some annoying quirks. You know, usually it's not too bad, and I have found some kind of like workaround fixes. Like sometimes you'll start getting double spacing in your editor, and that's super annoying. And all you have to do is hit Shift and then Enter. So like if I was right on like next to my Y, I would just hit Shift Enter, and it'll bring it down one row instead of the two. So there's some different like kind of fixes and stuff that I've come up with to help most of it, but some of it, especially when you are sending out emails, is where I would be most careful of that, because every email host reads the email differently, right? Every email, it's almost like it has its own translator. Gmail is usually pretty great about it looking the way that it looked in your editor, but Outlook, for example, is horrible with reading. Like if anything is messy in that HTML, it's going to be super funky in Outlook. The images will be weird sizes, and you would have never known unless you use Outlook Mail in order to test it first. So yeah, the short answer, yes. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm a coding guy, so I go in and look at the HTML from time to time, especially when things get messed up. And I can always tell when somebody copied and pasted from Word because the coding just gets all kinds of messed up. So I just was curious. The other thing, on our current site, because our editor is actually pretty similar, just to format things the way we want them, we use a lot of sort of invisible tables. It looks like there's a icon for a table on that editor. Is that correct?
There is. So that's one of the things. All of these pretty much in here are for tables. My recommendation, unless you just love it, and you might know things that I don't know because of knowing HTML, to stay away from tables as much as possible because everything on our site is responsive and tables are next to so I would stay away from tables if at all possible.
Okay.
You can't enter in tables.
Okay, so I have a question going back to this notion of, recommending using the style feature, the heading or the whatever it was, and then staying away from font family. There it is, yeah, font family and font size. So why would they, I guess it sounds to me like the way you were saying it, would there be no benefit to us to use different and unique font families and font styles, and because it could affect a future upgrade to the site?
It's not like an upgrade. It's just like if you guys went through a rebranding and instead of
rebranding, right?
If you went for like a jewel red, like a burgundy red and like a deep navy blue, if you guys wanted to change that and you told us if you had used this font families, font sizes for all of the headings on all of your articles, for example, we wouldn't be able to automatically update that for you guys. You'd have to go in and manually update it. Whereas if you use these formatted fonts, hey, you're not this kind of paler muted red, you're going to be this burgundy red, and it'll just update it across the site.
And it's just for that selected style. So what you're saying is that there are areas of the site that we want to be consistent across the board, so that they do a rebranding or just decide we want to represent our headers in a different way, different color. You could do it across the board, but but I don't have to like do paragraph and my body copy and all that, unless in fact those would also be affected by a rebranding, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So the body, is typically just going to be the paragraph text. If you wanted to like make something lime green and highlight it like purple and do something because it was super important, like obviously you can do that, right? It's just we wouldn't be able to update it automatically if we were going to
update that particular piece though of content.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay, good.
Can we
customize
that stuff?
Do what, John?
Can we customize it? So what if we don't want it red? Can we make like heading 2 a blue?
Yeah, so if it changes that you want, so like if you want heading 2 to be the blue color, then you can tell me that. Same with links. So anything that we link up, we're going to see in just a second what your links color is. But if you wanted to change that, we could update that as well.
And I know, Loretta, you want everything in Arial, don't you?
Oh yeah, because that's the font of our logo. So our font is Arial. Arial bold is the font in our logo. And so I've just been kind of, in line with that, not really any other reason, but to, sort of stay within that, use just standard Arial font. It just seemed to me to make this decision easier to be consistent across all of our communications.
Yep. Any of those changes that you guys have in the content, if you'll just send them in one document, we can make one round of changes for no cost. So just send it to me in one document, and we'll put those in place. Okay.
All right. But you've pulled copy in from our current website, obviously, and that would. And I remember you saying, send us one document with all the changes we want, and then you'll make those changes before we go live, and then after that we go into what you can do for us for at no cost and what we need to pay extra for. Correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. And so now heading 1, heading 2, we can define that now, right? So we say to you, all heading 1s are going to be the PMS 286. All heading 2s are going to be in the 032 red, or black or whatever we decide.
Exactly.
Now, okay.
Yep,
Okay.
you'll just tell it to me in that document of changes, and so I'll send it on to our designer, and he'll make all those changes for us.
Okay. All right. Okay.
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 All right.
Got it.
Awesome. Awesome. So aside from bringing in an image into an article, something else that's going to be a little bit different for member clicks is going to be how we add in internal and external links. So we'll begin by creating the text that we want to link up. External links, we'll just highlight the text that we're adding a link to. We're going to come to the top of our editor, and there's a little tiny link icon that we're going to select. This is going to ask for us to put in our link URL. I'm going to go ahead and just link back to our home page. Now for external links, I'll always recommend having a target window and a new window, so that way your members can still be navigating your site while on the external site as well. You don't want it to just replace your site, because then they might not know how to get back to it. So I'd always recommend having that external link open in a new window. At that point, we can just insert. So your external, anything that's linked up in your site is going to turn that red color as well. So if you want that changed, you can note that to me. So that's external links. So we just came to the top of our editor for that. Now for internal links, I'm still going to highlight my text. This time I'm going to come to the bottom of the site. Now internal links means that it belongs to member clicks. Examples like forms, maybe other articles or other menu items. I'm going to go ahead and just use our site links button. The bottom of the, since this is internal stuff to member clicks, we gave it a special little place and actually spelt it out. And that, once again, we're going to get a mini media manager that pops up. Along the left-hand side, we have all those different tabs of access we have directly this way that you have saved in the media manager. You can link to any forms, any menu items, community items, articles, any events from your event calendar. I'm going to go ahead and just link to the event calendar, and I'm going to insert this link. Now, you guys have to look extra fancy without doing a whole lot more work. Anytime you have external or internal text linked up to those external or internal links, you're just going to highlight that link. You can use those formatted fonts once again, and if you select heading 6, it's going to create a button for you. So now you look really fancy, and you had to do just a little bit of extra work. Same thing for the button. If you want these buttons in your site to be a different color as well, you can just note that also. Any questions about external or?
Well, how do we, I guess you're going to give us a list of what each of these style formats are, because obviously heading 6 is a button. I mean, so are there other unique characteristics that are not necessarily intuitive? You know, it's not going to say button, you know, in that list.
Yeah. Heading 6 is the only other unique option.
Oh,
the rest of these are just going to be smaller. Actually, that's a lie. Heading 3, there's one other that's a little bit unique. It's not heading 3. Actually, no. Yeah, all the rest of these are just as they appear. It's only heading 6 that has some special properties to it. All right, awesome. So we already mentioned a lot of these items in here are all about tables, and I told you that I would recommend staying away from those tables, but they are in here, so obviously you can use them if you want to. Just beware that it is usually not going to be responsive, because tables are not responsive. We do have an undo button, one of my favorites, a redo. We have a line separated editor for you, John.
That makes me happy.
Absolutely.
Those things make me, I'm getting high this minute.
Okay. If you highlight any of this, so like if one day you notice that anything's just looking really funky, John, we do have this HTML cleanup button, so it'll clean up messy code. Sometimes I can get that to do what I need it to do. Sometimes I still am seeing some messy code. Maybe it just might be too messy for it to pick it up. But we do have this item in here for you. And then one other thing that I always like to point out. Have a spell check. It is not going to apply automatically. So don't expect to be typing and the spell checking working simultaneously. It doesn't happen like that. You'll always need to highlight the text that you want to spell check and then select your spell check button. At that time, it'll underline anything that's spelled incorrectly in red. I'm a horrible speller, so this is why I always bring that up. For the most part, those are going to be the main icons that you're using in our system. Usually that explains every single button if you want that, every single tiny icon if you think that that would be helpful. But those right there are going to be probably what you're using 99.9% of the time.
Now, okay, I'm sorry, but I keep going back to this font family and font size, but, you know, John can tell you the way things, you know, how this thing appears right on the screen is extremely important to me, and I think to all of us for that matter, but I get a little neurotic. So what are these? Obviously a font size is a font family like Arial, Garamond, Calibre, you know, but yeah, okay, all right. Yep. And if we had a page for whatever reason that, you know, we wanted to have some copy, maybe just a little copy block that was in Comic Sans, we can make that copy block by itself, isolate it, and have it be comics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
And the way I understand it is that you could make the paragraph, which you said is the default text, you could make the paragraph, if you wanted it Arial at 12 point, you could essentially default paragraph to Arial at 12 point, correct?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And then on top of that, just to mention, and because I know you mentioned it, if you want us to change your entire site to Arial, as long as you provide a Google font, we can change everything in your site to go ahead and just by default be Arial. So that is something that we can do. Like I said, it has to be a Google font. And then yes, if you wanted to have an isolated paragraph just in Comic Sans, you would just have that paragraph. You would highlight just that paragraph and select
Google font.
You know, I can't tell you exactly what that means. I know that Google owns an array of fonts that are not owned by Google. So if you
look at that font family, Arial you already have.
So then that would be fine. I've just had some people who have like spit out some crazy custom font, and that's something that we wouldn't be able to apply to our site because we don't own the rights to it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay.
But since it's already in there, we shouldn't have to provide you with anything. We just tell you that we want Arial and it would be good.
Yep, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. All right, now completed our article. At this time, we're going to set our group access. Who gets to see this article? Who's not allowed to see the article? If it's members only, maybe we don't want prospect and public, so we're going to uncheck them. If we're fine with them seeing it, we're just going to leave them checked. Applying means that the changes are going to be saved on the front end, but we're still on the page. That's great to use if you're making a lot of changes in the site. So you're not having to go back to the article manager, go back into the article, make the changes, see the changes on the front end, go back to the article manager. Instead, you can like toggle between the pages to see how the changes are reflecting. Saving is going to save the changes also front end, but take you back to the article manager. So those are the only differences between those two. Now this article is unpublished. What? Why?
Clearly.
I sat on it too long.
Mm-hmm.
Published, yes. Huh. Why? It's weird. Let's try our icon. So I think I just sat on this page for too long and that's why it expired. I've actually never had that, but we had a few questions in here, so that might be why. It was just sitting blank and I wasn't doing anything, so I'm just going to create a new article really fast for our testing purposes, just for example, so we can keep moving forward. And I just copied that HTML, and I'm just going to paste it in our HTML editor. Is there a way to
change how long you can be on the page idle before it automatically logs you out?
There is not.
Do you know what the default time is?
I want to say, for some reason, is this going to do it too? I don't know. I'll have to ask for you. For some reason, I'm wanting to say, no, and that can't be right. I'll have to ask for you, and I can find out what it is exactly. I feel like my sister don't want us to run out of time. You guys should never come across this. I don't know why we're coming across this.
Well, it's likely when we go to do something like that, we're going to have thought it out, in advance how we want it to look.
Your phone rings, or if you have to go to the bathroom and you let this sit, because if you don't hit apply changes before you leave, you might come back and it might have expired, right? So I would always recommend hitting apply at least to those changes before you leave, and let it sit for a long time.
All the time, so I'm used
I know
to it.
It's annoying as heck. We've had a lot of complaints, but like for security reasons, we can't change it because we would have just many complaints. Oh, well, it's allowed to idle too long, right? It's kind of like both sides of the coin we can see. So we can't change it, but all time is so for you. But as long as you hit apply, it'll save those changes.
So that is kind of, so real quick, if we do anticipate that we're going to be behind, that we're not going to be able to finish it, do we click save and leave it on unpublished and we're good to go?
Exactly. That's exactly what I would recommend doing.
All right. Okay.
That's exactly what I would do. I'm just going to try to click this one, and then I'm just going to move forward and not worry about it. Group access, save. There we go. Okay. So we've created our article menu items. So same thing, website. This time we're going to go to menu items. Now we've got 4 different menus we can make edits to. We have our main menu, our social network menu, member menu, and quick links menu. Just to show you where each of those are, we have our main menu across the top. We have our quick links along the side. We've got our social networking menu at the bottom. That member menu is on the member landing page, and we're going to talk about that on the social community training.
The social, obviously, it's the icons for Facebook and other social media.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Okay, got it. Just want to.
Yeah, we're in this area. What we're going to do is ask ourselves, what menu item or what menu do we want to make a change to? Where do we want our new article to reflect? For our example, I always use main menu. What we're about to do in menu, though, you can do to the quick links menu as well, or the member menu. They all act the same. Quick links menu is usually the one I have in menu. So here is that outline of what our main menu looks like right now. If you wanted to change the order of any of these items, you can just use these arrows right in here, and that's just going to simply change, instead of maybe home awards, maybe you want home about. All you'd have to do is select the upward arrow move about under home. So however you see this laid out in this area is exactly how it's going to be reflected in the main menu, or the quick links, or the member menu, whichever one you're looking at. So you can really easily use these arrows to change the order. Same icon as when we wanted to create a new article. When we want to create a new menu item, we're going to use that plus sign again. Now this page is asking us, what type of menu item are you making? We've told the system we're making a change to the main menu. So now it's saying, okay, well, what do you want the main menu to link to? Where do you want this to go? You can link to anything like your profile, any articles. So what you'll want to use, we just created a single article. You'll only use the single article link under the article content. Create any of this fancy blog stuff, list stuff, article stuff. We just created a single article. We can link directly to any of these community features. Forums, polls, forms, will be a big one. Directory searches. Other is going to be, you can link directly to an external link. The ones that you're going to be using most commonly will be forms and then single article. Now it's saying, okay, what do you want the menu tab to be called in the main menu? I want this to be called members only. There's that alias again. Parent item, means, is this going to be another main menu item, or do we want it to be a sub-menu, or do we want it to be a tertiary menu item? So if we wanted this to be another main menu item, we're going to highlight top. If we want it to be a sub-menu, maybe a sub-menu of home, we're going to highlight home. Now that's going to create a sub-menu underneath home. If we wanted a tertiary menu, we could just select sub-menus that already exist in here. You'll know a sub-menu because it'll have this little dash in front of it. You can just select maybe events, and that's going to create a tertiary after tertiary. It's either the main, secondary, or sub and tertiary. Menu of the home button. We want our menu item published. If we wanted to open a new window, we can select new window. If not, we're going to leave it opening up in the same window that we're already in. We set that group access. Who can see this? And then we need to choose the article that we want to link up to. So I'm going to select my article. So right now, even though we've told the system we're adding a menu item to the main menu, we're calling it members only, it's going to be linked to a single article. Now we're saying what specific article are we linking to? Otherwise, it doesn't know where we're navigating. Select our article. And the one that you last made will always be number 1 on this list. At this point, I'm going to hit save. Now I can go back to our home. We're going to refresh. And there's that submenu we just created, other members only. And there's our little example page. I know there were a lot of questions on how I did that. Was there any confusing pieces?
Seems kind of straightforward to me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Two more things I'm going to try to hit really quickly. Under our website, we have what we call widgets. So widgets are what creates or what allows the front end of our website to be responsive. So if I select widgets, we've got a couple of different items in here. Homepage right, homepage main, and homepage left. So if I'm looking at your homepage on your website, we're going to go back home. We've got homepage main. So if you want to update this main piece of text, it's not an article because it's responsive, which means that if I was looking at this on a cell phone, see how all of these pieces just stacked on top of one another?
Oh, okay.
And widgets allow then. So it's not an article, it's under the widgets, and it's homepage main. We have homepage left. We have homepage right. These buttons down here were created just like I showed you guys, linking either internal and applying heading 6. So that's homepage right, homepage main, homepage left. All you have to do is edit. That's going to bring you into that homepage main editor. And then you'll use this editor just like what you did from our example we went over.
And that's like John said, and you agreed. If you have copy that you've written on Word, you move it over to Notepad and remove formatting, whatever that is, and then cut and paste it into the article.
Exactly. Okay. We have our slider images. So those are going to be the images that are slide showing through on your home page, these here that you see listed up at the top. And you guys can send us the images that you want in the slideshow and we'll add them for you this first time. But if you ever want to change them in the future, whatever image you want to add in, just make sure that your cursor is right next to that last image. You're not entering down or adding spaces. Make sure it's always right backed up to the last image that's in this editor. We're going to use the bottom, that image selection again. And if you've saved all of your slideshow images in your slideshow folder, then you'll just be able to find it in here, select that image and insert. So it's really easy to just add or change these. You can also use HTML editor. That's confusing to me, but I know that you can just change the names of the images that are in here, and it'll relate the new name of whatever image you want into the editor, but I like to just add it using the image bottom. When your how it looks, once again, you'll just hit save.
And so when we send you, we're going to use some of our existing images because they're tried and true, and look and see what else we have, or would like. And you said that this comes with Shutterstock, 5 Shutterstock images. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Okay. All right. So can go, scour Shutterstock and find 5 images that we'd like to have, and then if we find those images, can we use them for other purposes? So I want to have a Shutterstock image, on my my members only homepage, or my awards page, or something like that. Can I use them for different purposes?
You can use them for anything at that point.
Okay, got it. Okay, all right.
Exactly.
So if I put it in the slider image, so will it automatically configure it to the 980 by 245?
Nope. You'll always need to
do that.
To edit the photo to be 980 by 245. You'll have to edit the image before you add it in. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Same thing with sponsor slide images. So reflecting right down here at the bottom, I mentioned that these need to be 220 by 220. You'll always have to edit that image to 220 by 220 before you add it into the widget. Same thing, make sure your cursor is always backed right up to that last image. You're going to use your image selection at the bottom of your page, and then you can choose from whatever folder you saved the image into. So this, to me, is also really easy to use. Like I said, never enter down, never add spaces, and they always have to be the exact same size, height and width. Aside from our sponsor slider images, we have member landing page, my name is, and so this is going to be a name tag that we'll talk about when we get to the social community training. You guys can change what information is merged into this name tag. So let's say you didn't want member type to greet. So this is the page that's going to greet your members once they've logged in with some personalized information. If you're not happy with one of these data merge pieces of info, then you can just use your merge data tool at the bottom of this editor, and you can select any item that we have in the system, including any of those custom attributes that we have in here for you guys.
You already got the attributes posted. Do you have the data in there?
The data is not in here, but I have everything. Yeah, I still have to wait, but I have everything prepared to hold the data. So I went ahead and created the custom attributes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Name tag. We have our footer info. So this information right up here, that's just reflected right down here. If you wanted to add anything, change anything, of course you could do that, but usually my associations leave this area alone as is.
Well, could we put text links? A lot of websites use text links down there.
If you would like to.
Process of internal links, and then they go to the various pages that we define based on the menu, because that's how I've always seen websites I've developed. There's always text links based on that footer.
Yeah, we have different templates that hold that. This template that you guys selected does not, but you can add them manually if you want to. You've got all the space in here. You can add images, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
We got our, custom login page content, lower half, custom login page content, top half. And so what these areas are, what this means is if your members get ready to log in, this is the login page. You have the ability to add text above the login page or below the login page as you would like. Usually my associations leave this alone, but a lot of times what I see is not a member, click here to join, and it can be linked to your membership application or whatever. If you wanted to advertise an event, whatever it may be, you can. And so you would just use custom login page top half, and it's just going to provide an editor where you can add in that text.
Okay.
Lastly, the login container, you can change this thing that holds like this login container here. I want to show you, but it's going to lock me out. Let me log back in. Log in. What that looks like. Right now it looks like I'm logged in right now. So if I wanted to log out, I would just select log out. And I will show you as if I'm not logged in. It's fun. So if I'm not logged in, it looks like this. Turn off website widgets. I'm going to publish off the login container. So I'm going to unpublish it. You can unpublish any of these widgets. Now it looks like this.
Oh, okay.
So some people like that container. Some people just like this really that you can select. Do you have a preference off the top of your head? You want me to leave it turned off, or do you want it turned back on?
Well, do you have a preference, John?
I mean, I kind of like that button there.
Kind of do too. It really ends out for the member.
I like it as well.
One of the challenges, right, is the space that we have for what we have on our site is it's not super intuitive. You have to kind of look for it, and this would be wonderful. If you're a member, you get to click on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
No, I think we talked about this once before, but with the big NAFI logo there, can we change that to kind of the header image that we have currently, where it would be the logo and then to the right side spell out NAFI in like black text? Could we upload that image and have it cover that space in between, that blank space?
Yep, we would just need that logo that you used.
It would be a full, already designed image. That's
we
what
have
it is,
that already.
Right, John? It's an image. Okay, gotcha. That's right. It's an image. Never mind.
It's just there's a lot of blank space there that I'd love to fill with the spelled out NAFI.
Which makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Yep, just send that to me and we can definitely change that for you guys. Sometimes my designer can just add some text or add your name, but you guys have pretty specific branding, and without having like some type of brand, it's just easier if you send it, because otherwise he's something together and it might not match what you guys are looking for. So if you already have something created, just send that to me and it's a better practice for us just to use what you have. Okay. Well, that is all today. I also have a little bit of I like to go over how to use our calendar. Ran out of time because I have a training at 11, but I'm including a link that just goes through with you guys how to use our calendar. It's so easy. It's really, really simple. So I think the link will give you guys all the information you need. And those items that you create on our calendar are going to reflect over here in your upcoming events area. So give that a try. From this training, I try to just say, what I like for you guys to do, because you'll have to do it eventually anyways. And in your brain, you can update, if you'll update this main area of text, these two left and right areas of text, and then then you can try to update a quick link. You can try to add in a sponsor, change your slideshow images if you want to, or like I said, you can just send those to us and we'll do it for you. But just get in here, really play around and try to get this homepage to look the way you want it would just be kind of like my hope for you guys after today's training. Any last minute questions for me that I can answer for you real fast?
I don't think so.
I think so. Not a point. Yeah.
I'm going to stop